Hi, it's Don Southerton and the weekly episode of Everything Korea Office Chat. This week's the topic is smart cities. Let's go ahead and get started. Smart and Connected 221, where cities are headed post-pandemic. Smart cities and connected. For some people, this may be a vision of where an algorithm plots their daily drive to the store, school, or work. And not soon enough in a vehicle that will autonomously transport them. To others, it's a seamless integration of urban digital technology, populated with buzzwords like blockchain, AI, and big data. Still, many of us see smart as an ecosystem, blending infrastructure, software, and yes, massive amounts of data working their way through a sea of semiconductors. And that's just in our car or SUV. So stepping back, my first experience with the idea of a smart city reaches back to the mid-2000s, when I was fortunate enough to serve as an advisor to the New York City and Seoul Gale International team. They were a majority partner in the development of Incheon's Songdo International Business District. Envisioned as a green, high-tech city of the future, at that time it was one of the world's and Korea's largest foreign real estate investment. So it was built on reclaimed land with the partners like POSCO, Cisco, and United Technology. The forward-leaning project also showcased some of the first LEED certified buildings in South Korea and Asia. Some of the first in the world, actually. At the core of Songdo, and we call it IBD, International Business District, there was designated to be the ubiquitous city, a smart city with ubiquitous technology, computers built into the buildings and streets, while sensors gathered information on traffic flow and energy use. Now, I witnessed this firsthand and wrote extensively on the project too, with books. My first book was Jimopo to Songdo IBD, Korea's International Gateway. I think it was published in 2009. Quite a book, in the traditional Korean hardcover. It was bilingual, which means that it's one of the first history books ever written in Korea that had both one side was in Korea and one side in English. I laid it out more of a pictorial because I wanted to show the pictures of the period. So reaching back, some of them are actually incredible prints of Korea, turn of the century. Actually, at this point, more than 100 years ago, and all the way up to the actual construction of the project and the most recent pictures that were available at the time, because you can visit Songdo today and you can see how it's developed. But, an incredible project, very intense amount of research, writing, translation, and very well received. Soon after that, a few years later, I was asked to do the cover story for in August 2013 for Korea Magazine, and Korea Magazine is distributed globally by the Korean government. This was the cover article in there, and I really sort of brought things up to date of where Songdo was, how it has shifted in terms of its focus, because all smart cities, all urban developers are currently evolving as times change. I also did 2 articles in Forbes that were related to that at this time. I was sort of trying to share, again, this idea of smart city, what it was, where it was heading. And then in 2013, I also hosted BBC World Service for a visit to Songdo. I was able to host them there. We were on tours that saw the smart city capabilities. And we capped it off with an interview with Cisco's former chief global strategist, Win Elfrink. Win was probably best known because he was an early adapter, and he really popularized the IoT, the Internet of Things. He didn't coin the word, but he really popularized that. So it was actually a Cisco telepresence. We were in Songdo. He was in the Bay Area, and we were BBC. So it was sort of this thing, and we were talking about how technologies with smart cities were growing. So again, I think that this is to share that I've been really involved in this for a number of years and watching it unfold right before my eyes. Let's jump forward a few years. By 2012, CES, I had the opportunity to oversee the Western media and PR for the Hong Kong group. That's a South Korean ICT. It was a large exhibit. But as part of the exhibit, Hong Kong's Smart City Dashboard, which was developed for the City of Seoul's mayor's office, which was later covered at the height of pandemic on CNET, it drew considerable attention. This dashboard at the time was really showing all the interactions and data collection, and it was sort of collected and displayed. In particular with COVID, that city system was modified from tracking in Seoul fires and accidents and security issues to providing real-time alerts on outbreaks of those testing positive, so allowing the city officials to stay on top of the pandemic. Jumpstart. Although COVID did pause many smart city infrastructure and digital initiatives last year, much needed to support AV projects and mobility projects. Because we hear a lot in the media, we hear a lot among those who are working in the mobility field that we need the infrastructure, smart city infrastructure. But I feel that 2020 also really shared and many other urgent issues surfaced. Fortunately, they too can be addressed with smart city technologies, such as concerns over electrification and the grid, climate and carbon neutral solutions, and digitalization of essential services. More too so, COVID has sparked a new emphasis on our own surroundings and greater awareness of our own health and safety. So all said, as a huge positive are both the Korea's Digital New Deal, which I've talked about in other videos, and President Biden's recent infrastructure funding that will help jumpstart and fund technologies such as AI for smart cities and transportation, the electrical grid, buildings, and city operations, all critical for smart city. As always, I'm open to your discussions and your inquiries, so please feel free to reach out. Again, this is Don Southerton wishing you all the best. Let's take care and talk soon.